Hello, Internet. So, for some reason, I've been feeling quite tired lately, and I've been yawning like crazy. To be fair, it's probably because I should be getting more sleep instead of watching YouTube videos till 2 in the morning, so I only have myself to blame on that. But I have a problem with yawning. You see, all my life I've assumed that we yawn because we're tired, because, well, that's what cartoons told me. But if you really think about it, it's not true. If you've ever been stressed or anxious, such as before riding a particularly scary roller coaster or before sitting for an exam you haven't studied for, you probably have yawned. In fact, chances are you've already yawned just from listening to me talking about yawning, or because I yawned at the start of the video. So, what is going on here? Why do we yawn, and why is it so contagious? First, some context. Yawning is when you inhale air through your mouth and your nose, stretching your jaw muscles and your eardrums in the process, which is why sometimes you feel your ears pop. A typical yawn lasts for about 5 to 6 seconds and is usually accompanied by the stretching of other muscles in the body, particularly in the arms, legs, and even the neck, which helps them to wake up, figuratively speaking. When you yawn and stretch your body at the same time, we say that you're pendiculating, because it sounds super cool. So basically, yawning is like taking a very deep breath, which explains the first theory we have for why we do it. For the longest time, scientists thought that yawning was our body's response to low oxygen levels detected by our lungs. The idea was that this deep breath would have helped to bring oxygen levels in the blood up and carbon dioxide levels down significantly, which makes complete sense. Except it doesn't. You see, there's no evidence that our lungs are able to detect oxygen levels. And in fact, we've observed human fetuses yawn when they are in the utero and their lungs are not yet ventilated. On top of this, studies have shown that increasing the oxygen level that someone is exposed to has no apparent influence in the frequency of their yawning. So for these reasons, this theory has been debunked. So instead of blaming the lungs, many scientists nowadays trace the source of yawning to our brains. It is thought that the origin of this reflex action is actually in the hypothalamus, a region of our brain which is primarily responsible for the release of hormones. According to this theory, we yawn in order to keep our brains cool. Now, this might seem weird, but actually, anxiety, boredom, sleepiness, they all have one thing in common, which is that they increase brain temperature. Research has shown that we yawn in order to inhale large amounts of cool air, helping to prevent our brains from overheating and keeping them working at an optimum temperature, similar to how you cool your computer with fans. Actually, it's been observed that if you place a bag of ice on someone's forehead, you will reduce the frequency with which they yawn and could possibly even inhibit the reflex action. According to this theory, yawning facilitates state changes in the body, allowing our brains to adapt to the new state and keep working at an efficient temperature. Which is fantastic, but still fails to explain something. Why is yawning contagious? Well, scientifically, it's been suggested that this has something to do with what are called mirror neurons in our frontal cortex, which is basically the front part or section of your brain. These are normally used to explain how children learn their native language by means of imitation. These neurons are thought to fire to perform a certain action whenever you observe someone else do it. So in this sense, yawning might just be an imitative impulse. But if we understand yawning as a means to keep our brains functioning at an optimum temperature and our body muscles to stay alert, the purpose of contagious yawning might be deeper than this. Researchers theorized that yawning could have had a social or herd function similar to the purpose of howling in wolves. Basically, they argue that yawning was a primitive form of communication between our species that allowed us to synchronize moods with each other and regulate sleeping patterns. In this sense, yawning might have been a survival instinct, since back when we were vulnerable to attacks from other predators, if one member of a human tribe would lower their guard down at a dangerous time due to sleepiness or whatever, he or she would yawn. And consequently, all of the other members in the tribe or the group would yawn too, helping all of the members stay alert and prepared. But there is yet another reason why yawning is contagious, and it has to do with empathy. Empathy is our ability to feel other people's emotions as if they were our own. And so it's been suggested and proven that the more empathetic the individual is, the higher the probability that they will yawn in response to seeing someone do it. Studies in behavioral psychology have also shown a correlation between the frequency of yawning and the relationship the person has with the person yawning. In other words, your urge to yawn in response to seeing a family member or a close friend yawning will be much greater than if you saw a stranger yawning, due to the stronger social connection or bond that you feel towards them. Moreover, people with autism and other related disorders have been seen to yawn less when shown pictures of people yawning due to their limited cognitive empathies. However, we have yet to pinpoint a singular overarching reason for why we yawn, since in the end, these are all just theories. Yawning's relation to empathy is particularly problematic right now in the scientific community, since measuring empathy is such a hard thing to do. And it has led to many contradicting results between studies. Other explanations, such as the brain temperature theory, are closer to becoming scientific consensus, but more research is needed before that can happen. But at the end of the day, there's something really humbling about the fact that even though this is such a universal and primitive action, modern science and technology still cannot completely explain the purpose of yawning. And so it remains a partial mystery. So there you have it. As always, I hope you've learned something. If you did make it this far into the video, mad respect. Thanks for watching another episode of Shower Thoughts. If you like what you see, please consider dropping a like, commenting, and sharing the video. It really helps the channel. And also, don't forget to subscribe for more stupid questions every Friday. Yeah, I'll see you soon. Peace.